Good morning, everybody. This is Casper from the Tropical Weather Threat Society bringing you a special update here for Invest 94L, and we are going to discuss Hurricane Umberto as well. That has some influence here on 94L's track. Taking a look at everything this morning, we are still running at an 80% chance of development over the next 48 hours and a 90% chance of development over the next 7 days. We'll call it about 5 days. Because by that time, Umberto would, if it hasn't developed, it would be absorbed by that point in time. There is a considerable amount of rainfall that is currently ongoing here across the Dominican Republic, Haiti, getting into eastern parts of Cuba, the Turks and Caicos. It's a lot, folks. It really is. And the rainfall totals going up the line here for potentially folks in the Carolinas are becoming quite concerning here this morning. So, real quickly, let's go over what we have with our hurricane out here. As you can see, Umberto is definitely trying to clear the center of circulation and the eye feature with that. Let me hit, I know we'll probably get one or two more new frames here. As you can see, it is definitely, Umberto is on its way becoming a major hurricane over portions of the Atlantic. So this portion is looking to verify. We do have the new advisory on Umberto, and there is something that is kind of a little concerning here with this advisory because it's stayed this way for quite a while. Currently, we're located at 22.3 north, 57.7 west, about 450 miles northeast of the Leeward Islands with the maximum sustained winds of 90 miles an hour. We are currently moving northwest at 5. This slow speed has been quite concerning. Minimum central pressure of 979 millibars. There are currently no coastal watches or warnings in effect. Folks in Bermuda should keep a very close watch on this. The surf, as we get into, obviously, later on into the weekend, getting into next week, having a major hurricane in the western Atlantic will create rip currents all along the beaches, Atlantic-facing beaches. So folks going out to the water, please exercise caution. Now, with the National Hurricane Center, their forecast track for Umberto has shifted back a little bit to the east here this morning. And it's turning quite a bit earlier. As you can see here, it has put Bermuda well within the cone of uncertainty here and would be on that front right side as it is going by, at least if it runs the center track. Now, if we take a look at the overall forecasters discussion, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. We will go over the full discussion tonight at 6. But we're trying to get to 94L here this morning. They do call for now a Category 4 within the next 60 hours to 72 hours for Umberto's maximum intensity, being that are highly subject to change. If we take a look at its most likely arrival time of winds, and the reason that I show this is because of the overall breadth of the wind field itself. Bermuda, you are looking at sometime through the overnight hours on Monday. But if we look at the tropical storm force wind speed probabilities, you've jumped up overnight to now into the 30 to 40% range, closing in on the 40 to 50. So you are definitely closer to 40 than you are 30. That being said, if you look at where the forecast kind of wind field track is, it's not getting very close over here to where what would be Imelda is. Now, we're going to let me see here. Let me show you this particular graphic. Let's hit refresh here using Cyclonic WX's website. This is a feature of a kind of a visible satellite, but they're in a yellowish color compared to the upper level clouds showing up in a more of a white feature. Now, there is the potential for some type of rotation ongoing here. You do see that spin right here. There is a little bit of a low level feature somewhere in this region right here. Now, is it a closed low? Absolutely not. Though there is a little bit of rotation there and some spin. And it looks like that we have our mid-level somewhere still back disjointed away from it, kind of dragging along the island of Hispaniola there. That being said, if you just look at the low-level cloud flow, all right, we're looking up here. You can see these clouds all heading in this direction. But when we get over here, we've got clouds that are starting to head in this direction. All right, we have an approaching trough that is, we'll come back to the satellite. You can clearly see the approaching trough. All right, this is what is going to help draw this up to the north. All right, you can clearly see how the cloud deck and how the clouds are flowing. There is a low pressure back here. All right, let's just go to Earth null, and then we'll get into the models. If we come up here, we are at the 500 millibar level. This is approximately 18,000 feet above the above sea level. And as you can see, we clearly have our low pressure here with our trough. All right. This, we've got Invest, as you can see here, Invest 94L back here. We've got Umberto back here. This is our 500 millibar level. Now let me come down to the surface, and you will note that we've got a flow of winds coming up like this and then coming around. So this point right here is kind of the peak of the wave axis. All right, you're going to have it to where it comes up like this, and what we're looking for is that very peak on this northern side. Right now, the way that it is orientated is kind of like this. All right, what we want, or well, what the storm is going to want to do is stand this northern side up to where it does something like this. And then this top part is going to want to roll over on itself, and that's when we expect to see some type of circulation try to coalesce at that point. Okay. So we've got recon. All right, they cannot fly a low-level recon flight right now due to the fact that with the land proximity. So the reconnaissance flights are going out and dropping a ton of drop-sons all across the top. All across, going all the way out. I mean, just look at this one. It left Lakeland, went all the way out around Umberto, came all the way back, dropped down to where the wave axis is, and then moved along back home. So the National Hurricane Center, NOAA, United States Air Force, everybody is working diligently trying to get the most accurate information into the modeling that's possible. Now, as you could also see, just taking a look at just a random dropson here, we've got a dry slot between from about the 600 millibar level going upward. And that is representative here. So there is a little bit of dry air to the north of the system. That was dropsonde number 32. Let's go back to 29. This would put us pretty close to where the wave axis is, and as you can see, the humidity levels are definitely there at through the 700 millibar level, which is approximately 2 miles above the ocean surface. So it certainly has a moist environment in which to work with. A little bit further to the north, as we can see, there is some dry air. Looking at the spaghetti plots here this morning, this is our 12Z. This was basically initialized, the 12Z models would basically be 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, comparatively. There has been a decent shift in the modeling as we go forward, but the one thing that I would like to point out, at least in this particular spaghetti plot run, we don't have a lot of really, really strong intensities. H-Wharf obviously being the strongest there at 74 knots, which is around a Category 1 hurricane. We're going to go over some of the later runs and take a look at what those show, because the H-Wharf is a little different. And we're gonna go over all of it here this morning. If anybody has any questions, feel free, jump out. We're also going to go over all of the consensus models. I've got some new stuff debuting this morning. This right here is the HCCA over 7 days. That would create a massive flooding problem, regardless whether we had development or not. It does develop it, but this particular style of stall track just along or right offshore would be a nightmare. That would dramatically increase the already elevated rainfall totals that I'm about ready to show you, especially for folks here in central and eastern North Carolina. Heads up. Taking a look at a lot of these others, they have been trending to the left. And that is concerning, because if we get it down a little bit too far, then we're starting to look at a significant storm surge issue into some very populated areas. So what we have here is our Euro legacy ensembles. Now, this is the 0Z. Let me go grab the 6Z. And then we'll do some comparisons with it. Okay, so here's our 0. It had quite a bit of uncertainty, not really a lot of intensity, some cross-track spread here, but it does look like that the majority of the ensembles do bring it towards land. Your probability, that's what these represent, each line at about 2%. Your probability at this point would be higher than not of potential land interactions. That's how you read these. If we compare that with the 6Z, a very similar outcome. The majority of the probability is going to lie in getting it extremely close and or making landfall. So impacts are becoming more and more likely. It is recommended to begin preparations for potential impacts. If we compare that to the 6Z, GEFS, again, we've got a few, not a lot. We've got a few that want to take it out this way, but the majority of the guidance has it coming in here into the southeastern United States. Though we don't see a lot of intensity with it, Without having the storm developed, it is definitely too early to make a determination. But this is, we're getting to the point now to where concerns are certainly growing, and hence why we are live at 11 o'clock in the morning and not our normal 6 p.m. If we compare this with the AI, this is the Euro AI. Again, it is a similar look. We're seeing the models, AI and our physics-based models. We are seeing the majority of the potential going in this way, with a less probability still going out that way. So there still exists a lot of uncertainty, and will until we get a full closed center. That being said, it's it there's definitely cause for concern. Excuse me. This is the Google DeepMind, the 6Z. This just came out just a little while ago, and the overall distribution of probability is now the southeast coast of the United States. We still have some, a few of them trying to come out to the right, maybe 25%, maybe a three out of four are headed up towards land, and 25% are headed out to sea. Maybe 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, somewhere in that range. But and now I'm out 60 hours, and then I pulled our box this morning. What I want to show you is, let me go back one run, and we're going to go to that same time frame, except knowing that we're back 6 hours, we're going to push this forward just one more tick. So this way we line up with one another from run to run. And let me get rid of my crayons here. Look at the difference. You had the majority of the guidance in just one run ago that either sent it out into the open waters, following in Umberto's path, or bringing it up and then potentially stalling it somewhere in this region. That's a significant change, because now everything, again, if we just pop this forward and take a look at what the newest model shows, the majority of the probability is into the southeast. Now, if we look at our intensity distribution, we are looking at some time here on Monday, Tuesday. So we're going to take a look here. 29 or 37 at the maximum have it as a category 1. 13 has it as a tropical storm out this far on Tuesday, September 30th at 6Z. And that includes all of the ensembles, not just the ones that we're looking at trying to potentially get up towards the coast here. But there is a decent chance that this could be a potential hurricane on approach, and maybe a little more. So this morning we're breaking out Tomerberg's super ensemble that he has. This is ensembles that include the Euro, the UK Med, the GEFS, and the Canadian. So this is like ridiculous models. And the one thing that you always really take a look at this, now this is the 0Z run. I can try and see if we can get a 6Z on this. I don't think so. No. The 12Z, we will show this again tonight at 6 p.m. But the really, really big thing regarding this is what's known as the ensemble ellipse. All right, it will be this blue circle that is surrounding the area itself of where the ensembles are saying that the storm may track. Um, I will get you that in just a second there, Travis. I show it in a different format than just the regular graphic. I could pull the regular graphic that everybody is used to seeing, but we usually break it down from a different, in just a little bit of a different way. But I will grab that graphic for you in just 1 second, sir. If now, here we are, we're going to go out 72 hours. The one thing that I really need to highlight here is the overall ellipse of the system. A great amount of uncertainty still exists. All right. The probability is highlighted in the color here along the right hand side of the screen. This represents the probability of the ensemble members. So the higher the color, or kind of getting into your greens and yellows and then potentially reds, we're not going to see any reds because there's not going to be 100% on anything right now. But as we get higher and higher, that leads to a little bit more confidence. And this is where things get kind of interesting, because as you could see here, there is no confidence by the time we get to day 4. If you look, the highest little shade that I can see maybe into the 35, maybe 40%. So there's a great deal of uncertainty. If I run this out to day 7, take a look. I mean, you've got quite a few of these ensemble members. Look at all of those that are coming to where it really doesn't get that far north and then tears out. Not all of these from that 0Z run made landfall. There's quite a few of them that get it up close and potentially do make it landfall. But as far as the 0Z super ensemble is concerned, and I will be interested to see what the 24-hour, or not the 24-hour, but the 12Z shows this afternoon, because maybe we get a little bit of a higher percentage. And that's what all of this is. When you look at any of these ensemble members, it's all to do with probability. Now, what I have here this morning is the NOAA Eagle AI model. This is Project Eagle. This just debuted at the beginning of the 2025 season for consumption. And I guess it's been running a little bit behind the scenes. And as we could see here, they have 30 ensemble members. 31 if you count the control. Don't have very many coming out. For the most part, Project Eagle, now I cannot state, I cannot confirm or deny the credibility of this model. It is literally brand new. A lot of verification will be going through the off season to kind of see exactly which AI model performed better than others and vice versa. As we could see with the pressures here on the right hand side of the screen, there is only one that gets it into, uh-oh territory. But that uh-oh territory and that one is this one little outlier right there. So the rest of them get it into somewhere between around, maybe under 1,000 millibars, right in and around the mid 990s, maybe low 990s. And that would represent a strong tropical storm, and or maybe getting in, probably not a hurricane, but other factors may get it there. Now, let me get the question that I had over here regarding the intensity on this. And just so this way we could show the normal and basic graphic. And then, like I said, we're going to go through this kind of on an individual scale and even pull up pull up all of the consensus intensities as well. But that is the current 12Z intensity models. The majority of them keep it as a tropical storm. There are a couple that want to get it up into a category 1 status. And Cat 2 probably wouldn't necessarily be off the table just because the Gulf Stream is a funny thing. And there's a lot of oceanic heat content with a recycling current that is potentially going to get involved here. And that could lead to just a little bit more of an opportunity. Now, what we have here is the 6Z halves A run. I've got this set on the 10-meter wind speed in knots. As we continue to run this forward, the halves A bounces around. We don't really see it kind of coalescing until we get here. Now, you'll have to forgive the way that, zooming in on mesoscale specific and hurricane specific models, sometimes they'll bounce around looking for that point. Now that it has it, it is going to zoom in on it, and as you can see, it'll start to center in to the overall frame itself. Now here we are 72 hours out, but look at the rain that is already to its north. All right, you're going to have quite a bit of rainfall associated with this. Now we're going to take this forward here on the H wharf, and what you will see is that by the time we get to day, we'll go day, we'll go 3 days, 18 hours right here. Just so this way we've got it still offshore. Max winds 71.7 knots. That would be a hurricane. But again, look at the rain. That's my biggest concern right now, is the rain. Because there's going to be a frontal boundary interacting with this. It's going to help to spread out the rain, and it could rain in some locations for a considerable amount of time. Now, I'm going to pop this back. We are going to go back to our winds, and now we're going to shift this over to halves B. Halves B does have a little bit of a different solution. We've got to wait for it to kind of get caught up here, as you can see, going through the Bahamas, but intensifying a little bit quicker, and then is able to potentially achieve a little bit of a higher maximum wind speed just for a temporary time. But again, it's the rain. As I roll this forward, you can see just some places could get an unbelievable amount of rain associated with this. So that's becoming a major concern of mine. Comparing this with the H wharf. Now, H wharf, this one, folks, one model run, one run, so please keep that in mind, but H wharf doesn't play. As you can see here, it really starts to lower pressures as it gets over the Gulf Stream. Though, again, look at the rain. So even if you do not live near the coast, it is the rain that is going to be a potential threat on top of potential coastal wind impacts as well. So I can't stress this enough, folks. Comparing it with the HMON, things are still subject to change. All right, we're not saying that anything of what I'm showing here tonight is not, or this morning, is not set here in stone, in the slightest. The HMON gets it towards, potentially getting it up there towards a category 2. But again, look at the rain. There is going to be a shear. All right. This is the GFS's solution. We're going to come forward. That's 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. So here we are on the GFS, on Earth Null, out 72 hours. If you look, you can clearly see where Umberto and Imelda are. We've got the surface at this point. Now, we would see potential surge impacts if this were to approach and get too close to the coast, obviously. But the thing is that as you could see, as we come up to the 250 millibar level, this is approximately 6 miles above the ocean surface. Now, at this point, this is where a true concern of mine is lying. You have this upper level low here. You've got Imelda right here. The shear is coming in from this side. So what it's going to want to do is push the convection to the northern side. This is what's known as the down shear side of the system. And at that point, this is where a lot of that convection and the rain is going to be able to develop and fall, is on that down shear side. Especially if we get some kind of, negative tilt to this. Because at that point, you're also going to allow some of that moisture on a down shear side to develop here as well. And that is, my biggest concern is for flooding right now. Yes, wind impacts, certainly, but those are undetermined at this time. The rainfall is something that I'm looking at right now and just watching them trend higher and higher and higher and higher. And when I mean higher, here is the 7-day WPC rainfall forecast zoomed in on South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. This is, you're talking about this area all in here. Anything in the brown color and above is 5 inches. Also, keep in mind that these rainfall totals are smoothed out. You're going to have locally higher amounts than what you see here. And I'm going to drop this back. How far back do we want to go? Let's go back 48 hours and show you what that one looks like. We saw some rain with the approaching frontal boundary, and now with the tropical system, take a look at the difference. Here's what makes this even more concerning for me, and that this could potentially end up being quite a significant flash flooding threat if this goes the wrong way. What I have here is the National Weather Service Office precipitation anomalies. This is over the last 30 days of where areas have had above average or below average rainfall for the last 30 days. Now, let's go back and look at where that rain is here on the WPC forecast, and where the greatest anomaly lies. That means that the soils are going to be hard and are going to help to promote a little bit of an increase of runoff until the water can actually saturate the soil a little bit. So as this begins to approach, if there are areas that have not received much rain, and then all of a sudden you get a bunch of rain in a very short period of time, flash flooding is a significant concern, especially in areas that have even the slightest bit of topography. Because again, if we roll back, let me find halves here. It's this that bothers me. It's this persistent on flow right here. especially if this storm is going to come northward, these areas would continue to move. But as that storm tries to turn and go inland, these areas here, because it is not moving further north, these bands that are on the onshore flow could potentially run over the exact same place over and over and over again. That's a concern. I cannot tell you where these rain bands are going to set up. But if this situation plays out like what it's calling for right now, with this increase of chance of rainfall, and on top of that, you also must consider in this northeastern quadrant tornadoes. Quick spin up little tornadoes rolling in. This, I mean, like, it a lot of people are going to look at it and be like, oh, it's only supposed to be a tropical storm. It's only supposed to be a, maybe a Category 1 hurricane. I would like folks, so, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'll save that for later. Take a look and do a Google search on the last time we had an Imelda. That would have been 6 years ago in 2019. Go take a look. Imelda was only ever became a minimal tropical storm. Imelda is in the historical records. Ask the folks in Louisiana. Some places had over 40 inches of rain. I'm not saying that that's what we're going to see here, and no two storms are ever alike. But this particular storm has already been famous for heavy rainfall. And with the motion going inland, let's see, we'll pull up the spaghetti plots. It's when at this time right here, if that were to occur, some area to the north of that is going to get that persistent onshore rain band. And that's going to extend well inland as well. So the risk for, right now, the risk for flash flooding is my biggest concern. Now, looking at the consensus models, this only reinforces my concern, my building concern for the potential of flash flooding. You can't determine the wind speed on this yet. We don't have anything there. Regardless of development, even if this was going to be a minimal tropical system, this stall is a problem. It's sitting too close to the open waters, and somebody there on the onshore side is going to receive persistent shower and thunderstorm activity. That could lead to some extraordinarily high rainfall totals in localized amounts that could lead to flooding risks for folks. Like, do not drive through flooded roadways. This is the TVCN model. This is one of our consensus models. As you could see, this basically comes in towards the Charleston area and then just sits there. That would be absolutely terrible. Again, it doesn't have to be a high wind impact system. It doesn't need to be a Category 1, Category 2, or labeled as a major hurricane to cause significant impacts. If we look at the overall consensus intensity from the TVCN, Cat 1. Minimal Category 1 hurricane. Still impactful, yes. But take a look here at the HCCA. We already highlighted that one from the spaghetti plots. The consensus has been calling for a stall. It doesn't have it extremely strong. What I am afraid of is that people are going to potentially dismiss this as, oh, it's just a Cat 1. Oh, it's just a tropical storm. Don't underestimate these systems, folks. And I'm definitely not trying to push the fear, the hype, or anything like that. All I'm trying to communicate is that over the last 48 hours, we have seen a significant increase in these rainfall totals with the continued uncertainty that we have with the models starting to elevate quite a bit. And then you're getting into 7, 8 inches widespread, 6 inches, 5 inches. That's going to be very impactful. Granted, it's going to be potentially a drought breaker, but in this little swath of rain, that could shift depending on what we have, where location of potential landfall may occur. I mean, if it stalls out down here, much further to the south, then these rainfall totals will adjust accordingly. But there's also this problem, and I don't want to talk about it on today because today is the anniversary of Hurricane Helene, but look there. If you have a low pressure center, we'll say that it's sitting right, we'll say it is in this region down here. Let me kind of color that in so everybody can kind of see this. We get it down here into this region. I never was able to color into the lines. This mouse sticks anyway. But you're going to end up with that onshore flow like this, like I was talking about. Well, whatever residual is left over is going to then lift on these mountain ranges. And then it's going to condense and rain out here into where? Western North Carolina. Look, I definitely don't want to be the guy that has to communicate this. This is not fun. This is not fun in the slightest. These rainfall totals could shift. It's the fact that these rainfall totals keep going. They're not stopping yet. They're not. Let me pull up and show you compared to, I've got this for the southeastern U.S., and as you can see, the model blend is not showing what the WPC is showing. The WPC is recognizing this event as well, saying that the rainfall threat from this could be very significant. It's not a guarantee, and you don't have to have landfall. All you got to do is get it close. Actually, not having landfall is probably the worst case scenario for the rain if you get it too close. So it is highly, highly recommended, folks, that everybody come back. Please check with the National Hurricane Center, numerous times. We'll be live multiple times. I expect a potential tropical cyclone advisory today, and if that does occur, then we'll be live tonight at 10:45 p.m. Eastern to go over the primary advisory. So we're trying to do everything that we can to keep everybody up to date and informed, and just let everybody know, being like, hey, look, not gonna lie to you folks, we've been tracking this damn wave since before it left Africa. Tropical wave was going to be a low runner, and it was going to change the angle of approach to the trough and potentially get it close. And here we are discussing it today. This thing, like I said, it doesn't have to develop into anything significantly strong. The rain threat with this particular setup is concerning. Look at that flow. all of that. This is the 500 millibar level. Look at this. It doesn't have to make landfall. It doesn't have to be a category 3. The number one threat from a tropical cyclone are water-related issues, whether it be from storm surge or inland flash flooding. Please respect the water threat from a tropical cyclone, whether it be inland or coastal. All right. Yeah. Yes, and I could definitely concur there with James. We have been watching this since about 3 days before it left the African mainland. This particular wave. We had some people tell us that we were crazy for watching it. Well, not necessarily like that. Talking about, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. Well, now we do. And unfortunately, it's always, if you do this long enough, you'll be able to recognize and be like, oh, that's the one right there. That's going to be the one that we got to keep an eye on. And lo and behold, we could end up with some type of threat, some type of impact. And I don't like it because before I go ahead and close this off, I'm going to pull, this is the tropical outlook. This is the 8 a.m. outlook. And it says here, showers and thunderstorms continue to show signs of organization in association with the tropical wave located near Hispaniola, Turks and Caicos Islands, and eastern Cuba. An area of low pressure is expected to form along the wave by tonight when it moves near the southeast Bahamas. This low is expected to become a tropical depression when it is in the vicinity of the central and northwest Bahamas over the weekend, and then track northwestward or northward over the southwestern Atlantic. And this is the part right here. Regardless of development, see, I mean, we don't have a named system down there right now across the Dominican. And, you know, look at the flooding that happened over Puerto Rico 2 days ago or yesterday. Look at the flooding that is ongoing right now in Haiti and the Dominican Republic. You don't have, it's just known as Invest 94L. That moisture's coming. So, regardless of development, heavy rains and gusty winds are ongoing in the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and the Turks and Caicos Islands, and are likely to spread across the Bahamas and eastern Cuba during the next day or two. Interest in all of these areas should monitor the progress of the system. While there remains considerable uncertainty in the long-range track and intensity of the system, there is a significant risk of wind, rainfall, and storm surge impacts for a portion of the southeast U.S. coast early next week. Interest in this area should also monitor the progress of the system. They tell you. Right there. Right there. There is a significant risk of wind, rainfall, and storm surge impacts. Please take this seriously, folks. I mean, we're trying to do the best that we can over here to try to keep everybody informed of what we've got. Right now, you have no idea, nobody else does either, of exactly what this wave is going to do at this time. We're definitely expecting it to kind of stand up on its wave axis, roll over a little bit, and try to get itself organized. That's what everybody is basically waiting on. Right now, land interactions have impeded with that potential development. You've got the mountainous terrain. So once this clears that, then we'll start to get the signal. And then we can really start to get an idea of exactly where this may go, or maybe not exactly. Hope for the best, but folks, please respect this rainfall threat. It's Again, I'll say it a million times, and I'm probably going to say it a dozen times tonight, later in the lives. You don't need a extremely powerful system, a powerful wind-borne name system to cause significant impacts. And I'll have 2019 Imelda up, ready to go tonight at the 6 p.m. live. But with that, I am going to go ahead and sign off here for the rest of the morning. I'm going to go get some lunch. And then we will be back live here, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, on Facebook and YouTube like normal. If we get a PTC advisory, at that point, then yeah, we will also be going live at 10:45 tonight to go discussion. We'll get the NHC's breakdown on that. So it'll certainly be beneficial and very, very helpful in communicating the extent of the threats. But right now, the threat, the big threat, the known threat is going to be excessive rainfall, at least at this point. So everybody here on the southeast coast, monitor your local National Weather Service office. Those folks are going to give you the official forecast. We could show you all the data. Those folks are going to be the ones that are going to give you the official forecast. And if you guys have, and if you need it, we can get it for you here as well. We'll just pull it up. So have a wonderful rest of the afternoon, folks, and we'll talk to you again here in just a little while. Bye.